Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the movie special of my hardcore series. We have already hit day 1000 in this world, which is absolutely insane. And this is a compilation of every single one of my videos up to this point. So without further ado, let's get started.
My gosh, it's been 7 months. Where's bro,
Bro,
at?
where's
Where
bro
the heck
at?
have been? Why is he
Exploding?
exploding?
Where is he?
He fell off. Where's bro at?
Welp, we're back. And we're going to be playing the Create mod, which adds all these cool thingamabobs and doohickeys and so much more. Also, since I am playing this mod completely blind, I will have my trusty friend and he will be playing this hardcore world with me as well. And after collecting wood and making some wooden essentials, we went out searching for a place to live when I found this giant, open, snowy taiga, which was the perfect spot to build a little cabin. This was our spot, and when I began to collect wood for the house, Bear started working on a strip mine downwards to find any iron and coal easily available to us early game, and he didn't have any luck so far. Alright, I have 3 goals for this episode. Firstly, I want to build a stable house that we will live in for the time being. Find a huge cave which we can use to extract ores for goal 3, which is building an automatic iron farm using the new tech this mod comes with. I made me some stone tools, and Bear was telling me about how you can craft a saw which chops trees automatically, and while I was continuing building the house, he went off to go find the materials to craft this saw, so we could build this house a lot quicker than we were. And this guy has the worst luck finding any iron, so after building all the first floor walls, I began to help him by expanding the mineshaft while he looked for exposed caves to find iron. After a while, Bear said he had found some iron, and so I went back up and started working on the second floor of the house, while he traveled back to make this saw. When he finally got back, he smelted up the iron, and to craft the saw, we needed these flat iron sheets and an andesite casing. To get the flat iron sheets, we made a depot and a mechanical press. These are made pretty simply and are able to make sheets of almost any ore, just like this iron one that we need. The andesite casing is made by a stripped log and right-clicking it with the new andesite alloy ore. And after getting the new saw from Bear, I began chopping entire trees so much faster than if I did it by hand that I would get a stack of logs within 3 to 5 minutes, which allowed me to finish the hard part of the cabin. And all that we needed left was windows to complete it. I moved the storage upstairs and crafted a little bit of armor and shields for me and Bear so we could finally defend ourselves in the caves, which we decided to go into next. We soon found ourselves in a huge cave, which checks off number 2 on our list, which we somehow completed before number 1. And we were able to find lots of iron and ores to help us out. Sadly, no diamonds yet though. When we came back up, I started smelting the iron I had collected in the cave and made a bucket for water. Bear recommended that we start automating our machines to start on the iron farm, so we made some large water wheels, but after setting one up outside, we ran into an issue where the ice would freeze and stop the water wheel from moving. So to stop this, I began to start digging out a basement where we would put all of our engineering stuff for now before we make anything outside. This room took like 30 minutes to dig out fully, just so we could start putting water wheels in. During this time, Bear crafted a few essentials that I need in this world here. One was the engineer's goggles, which allows me to see the stress units on a mechanical item is using, meaning the higher number the stress is, the better and faster the machine will run. The next item I was given was the wrench. This allows me to rotate and break mechanical blocks without having to use tools like pickaxes or axes. After finally breaking out the room, we started to move down the water wheels and figure out how to automate this iron farm we were going to make. While Bear was figuring that out, I decided I wanted to finish the house by putting windows in it. So I collected and smelted sand into glass and made some glass panes. And after finishing the house completely, we have finally checked off 2 of the 3 goals for this video. All that is left now is that iron farm, which is going to be the hardest of this video to make by far. We started with working gears to their fastest speed and strategically putting them down to make each one faster than the one before. And soon enough, we had the fastest possible spinning gears, and all that was left was to collect materials and build the farm. A drill wasn't too difficult to craft, a millstone was also easy to make. I let Bear handle most of the building as I searched for more materials that we needed, and soon we only needed 2 more items, lava and kelp. Lava wasn't too difficult as it was just a little far away from the house, but kelp, oh boy kelp. This took over 2 full in-game days to find, and it was so tiring since we apparently lived thousands of blocks away from the nearest ocean. Running back took about 10 minutes too, but at least we had all the materials for the farm now. And so we began construction on the farm. And by we, I mean Bear, because he actually knew what he was doing. But don't worry, he was explaining it all to me, and in future episodes, I'll be able to build a lot more complex things here by myself. So subscribe to see those when they come out. I'm going to try to fix my upload schedule with this video and end this year off strong. Anyways, I'm going to let present me explain how the farm works for you guys, so you can understand what's going on with this odd looking farm.
Okay, let's start this over. So basically, we're gonna ignore him for now, okay? Basically, there's lava here, and then water on the other side. Okay? This makes cobblestone, which gets mined up by this drill, funneled through into the millstone, which is turned into gravel. This gravel is then purified with this fan over here. Once we hook it up, it'll get purified with this fan, and then funneled into here, where it can either become flint or iron nuggets, effectively making a very cheap iron farm, but nonetheless still an iron farm.
And that's going to be it for this episode, y'all. If y'all did enjoy, make sure to subscribe and prepare for some more bangers on the way. I'll see y'all next time.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of our hardcore series. As you can see, I got full iron armor, thanks to our handy dandy iron farm that is actually producing really well since last episode. This episode, we got a few new goals this season, so let's get started. This episode, I'm hoping to get a few goals done today. Hopefully, what I want to do is build an automatic food farm, which we can probably do with some carrots that I have lying around. I also want to see if we can go to the nether this episode. That'd be really good, but we'd also need to find some diamonds doing that too, so we'll see what happens.
After clearing out an area, I began to work on a carrot farm that I would soon turn into an automatic carrot harvesting machine. Now, one thing I need for this project is windmill sails, and a bearing to power the harvesters I'm going to need, and after making the bearing, all I needed was some wool for the sails, so I started growing some wheat to breed some sheep with. I built a pen for the sheep, and grabbed bones and turned them into bone meal to speed up the wheat growing process. And now that I had the wheat, I could finally find some sheep to breed. And since I didn't want to explore and find sheep, I ended up clearing this whole chunk of forest for sheep spawn rates, which gave me a lot of wood but didn't solve my problem. So I went out searching for sheep anyway, which turned into me finding an igloo with no basement and a village with some pretty good loot before finding any sheep at all. Luckily, on my way back, I found 4 sheep and took my sweet old time to take them to their pen where they will be staying for the rest of their days. And after breeding them, I sheared them for their wool, and I was finally able to craft these windmill sails and do the constructing on this windmill. But that was only half of the farm, and what I needed now was some way to harvest the carrots, which is what these harvesters are for. After crafting 4 of these harvesters, all I needed was to make super glue. This would allow me to connect normal Minecraft blocks to create mod blocks and to make them move. All I needed for this was some iron, which I grabbed from the iron farm, and some slime balls from the swamp that we found nearby.
Alright, we need to go to the swamp to get some slime balls to connect to the harvester that we're going to put on top of the windmill. This will automate it a lot quicker, and to get slime balls, we just need to kill some slimes, so let's go do that.
Yeah.
Alright, we made it to the swamp, now we just gotta wait for nighttime. Then when we kill some slimes, we'll be able to build the harvester, hopefully. Now we're just gonna wait on top of this tree until nighttime and kill some slimes. There's a big slime, big slime. Now we got our slime, baby. Grab a few extra just for the road.
Look up, look up.
So now we can make me some super glue.
Yeah.
Something like this. How is this freaking made? There we go. Okay, so what I need is a mechanical bearing. So let's make one of those really quick.
And after making the mechanical bearing, I traveled back to the farm to begin constructing our auto carrot harvester, which first required me to break down the windmill and building the harvester. I couldn't get this to work, so I moved the windmill on top of the machine, but it still wouldn't move. I was stumped until Bear showed me that the bearing had to be powered on the bottom side. So after knowing that, I put it on the correct way, and when I tried it out, it worked. So I added one extra harvester to get the corners, and we were completed. I now had a stable, passive food source which was way better than those terrible sweet berries. Now this next goal I wanted to do this episode was to go to the nether, but guys, I'm gonna be honest, my recording software didn't capture any footage of me in the mines, and when I finally noticed, I was already out of the cave with 7 diamonds, which I made a pickaxe with, and some obsidian already. I had went back to the village and collected the books from the librarian house there as well. I crafted an enchanting table and some bookshelves, and made a basic enchanting setup and enchanted my pickaxe with efficiency 2. The only thing I needed now was a little bit more obsidian, so I headed back down into the mines to go look for a lava pool.
More diamonds, though.
Yep, more diamonds, more diamonds.
Soon enough, I found me my lava pool and mined up just enough obsidian to make another portal with. And soon enough, I was outside of the mines and grabbing the rest of the obsidian in storage. I built another portal, lit it up, and jumped inside, ready for whatever was beyond. It was fine. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more hardcore create, and I'll see y'all next time.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hardcore Create Mod Minecraft. This episode, I really need to upgrade my tools and armor to better, fully enchanted diamond gear. And to do that, I want to build a giant drill that will excavate all of the diamonds for me. To make this drill, we are going to be combining a lot of these smaller drills and turning them into a giant tunnel boring machine. So let's make some of those really quick, but it looks like we are low on andesite alloy. But let's see how many drills we can make with just this. Okay, 6 isn't bad, but I do want to make a little bit more. So let's grab the rest of my spare andesite from storage and use this mixer to turn it into andesite alloy. By throwing in the andesite and some iron nuggets in there, they will combine and make enough andesite alloy for all of the drills. A full stack of alloy should suffice. I only need a little bit more drills for the tunnel bore, but I'll make extra just in case I need them for the future. I think 25 total should be a lot more than enough, and now we just need a few more items, then we can start construction. But to make the rest of these materials, I am going to need some more andesite alloy, and right here at the bottom of our mine is a huge andesite vein. So let's do this, and now we have all the andesite we need for this project. So let's turn all of this into andesite alloy with our mixer, and while all that is mixing, we can make a few of the items we need, such as piston extension poles, a mechanical piston, another iron pickaxe, some small and large cogwheels, and finally some large water wheels. Now I need to mine to negative 40-ish to maximize the amount of diamonds I can get before running into lava. So let's drill through this, and now that we are down here, let's dig out an area for the drill and start setting up the water wheels to power this thing. Oh, diamonds, nice! I'll put the water for the water wheels here, and now we got some energy flowing. Now that we got all our water wheels running, we can start to power this drill. So let's get some really fast cogs going because this is too slow. Now that we got our max speed cogs, we can start to build the actual drill, which is not like this. I actually forgot a few items, so let's grab those really quick. I need my super glue from last episode, and I need some more of these extension poles. I also need to make a gear shift to switch directions of the drill on command. And now that I have all this stuff, I can go build this drill. Now that I have the piston facing the right way, I can start to build this drill thanks to our gear shift. As you can see, when I place down these extension poles at the back of the piston and go flick the lever, it will start to push the blocks inward, so all I have to do is put the drill in front of this and it will mine it all for me. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes, but I think I finally have this figured out. So if I just pull this lever, it should work, and yes! Now it should move up to 64 blocks in one direction before stopping, because that is the limit before I'll have to turn the drill around and mine the other way. But this first set here will be annoying because I have to keep replacing these extension poles to the back after, but after it should be smooth sailing for a while and the diamonds will start rolling in, hopefully like crazy. So I'm gonna start drilling tons of tunnels and I'll be back in a few hours and see where we're at with diamonds and such. Alright, it's been a few hours and a lot has happened. First of all, the amount of tunnels drilled so far has increased tenfold, as you can see, and we've had to move the gear shifts so we don't have to run all the way back to start the drill. I've had to do quite a bit of digging with my diamond pickaxe too because the drill has gotten moved over and over again to the new spots. And you guys are probably wondering how much diamonds we got, and 53 is your answer so far, which I think is pretty good. I've also got all of these deep slate blocks, but most I've thrown into this lava trash can I made. So now I'm going to take these diamonds back home and go make some armor and some tools with them. But first, let's make an anvil and heal up my pickaxe with some diamonds. Just like this.
The next thing I set out to do was to finish the enchanting table setup, which required me to gather more bookshelves and mostly leather, and after making all the spare leather that I had into bookshelves, I was only able to make 5 and I needed a bit more to finish it. So after killing a few cows, I was exploring for some more when I found a shipwreck which had the coast armor trim inside, and I wanted to put that onto my new armor. So after making a few more bookshelves, I made a diamond axe and went back out in search for more cows, but suddenly I found a skeleton horse trap, which scared me a little bit, but after making a new shield, I was able to save 2 of the horses and bring them home on a saddle I found while exploring the last episode. After crafting some fences and caging the horses up for now, a wandering trader showed up and I killed him for the leads and let my horses roam free until I build them a horse stable in the future. I made the rest of the bookshelves and finally finished the enchantment table setup, and all I needed now was levels to enchant the gear with good enchantments. So I went back down into the mine and spent an hour mining ores and leveling up using our handy dandy drill and its tech. I was able to get to level 29 and get a lot more ores but a lot less diamonds this time. So I decided to go into the nether and mine quartz as it gives the most XP the fastest so I can enchant these tools and armor. And once I hit level 33, I enchanted my chestplate and boots with some okay enchantments. Leveled back up to 33 again in the caves and enchanted my helmet and pants with not the best enchantments, but way better than regular iron armor. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe as it supports the channel a lot and it would mean the world to me. Thanks! Hello everybody and welcome back to Create Mod Minecraft Episode 4. In this episode, we aren't going to focus on making a contraption, but more of upgrading our living space. As you can see, our house is a little bland. It satisfied me through the beginnings of the series, but we need something more serious for some plans I have later. The first thing I'm going to do is light up a large area surrounding my house so no mobs will grief us while we build this giant castle. So we're just going to light up all around the house and use all of these torches. And that is the last one, so no mobs will interfere with this project. Now, before I want to build the castle, I want to build a horse enclosure for the skeleton horses we found last episode. So let's grab a bit of cobble and the last of our wood. Now I want to turn these into stone bricks, so let's smelt this cobble up. And while that is smelting, we're going to chop some of those huge spruce trees to get enough wood for this and the castle. These are the big trees, and using our mechanical saw, we can chop these trees in an instant and get tons of wood from it. Okay, this is way more than enough wood for the castle and the horse stable. And most of our cobble has been smelted too, which is great. So let's craft these into stone bricks and begin building. We're going to start with a stone brick base, then stack wood on top of it. Now we'll build the fences to keep them in, and a slanted roof to finish it off. It's a simple but pretty nice looking stable for the horses. The next thing I want to do is move everything that's inside of the house outside, so let's work on that. And now that everything is outside, we can start to remove the entire house. Let's start by removing all of the logs with our saw, just like that. And now the tedious part of breaking down the entire house block by block. And now that it's all gone, I can show you guys what we are working with. I've spent a few hours designing a castle which I will be recreating and improving on in this hardcore world. And thanks to schematics for making this a lot easier than it needs to be. Now we are going to be using the schematic building tools to speed up this process. And the main thing we are going to use is this cannon, which will place all the blocks in the build for me so I won't have to. So now if we put a book into the machine, it'll print a checklist of every item we will need to build the castle. So let's get collecting. And we'll put the materials into this chest next to the cannon for it to take and build the castle with. Most of the materials were pretty easy to collect, and we were able to start checking off the material list really fast. And after getting most of the items done, it was just large amounts of wood, stone, and glass I would need left. The glass and the wood were really easy to get and didn't take long at all as they were easily available to me, and soon it was just the stone bricks left, but I had run out of coal. So I traveled to a giant mountain and began collecting huge coal veins spread all across just to make sure I wouldn't have to come back in the future for more coal. Then all I needed to do was smelt and wait for the cobble to turn into stone. And after about an hour of waiting, all of the stone was made and put into the chest and ready to launch and build this castle for me. Okay, so when we hit play and ooh, yes. Yo, this looks epic and it's placing it all perfectly for me. Well, I guess it's time lapse time. And that is our castle complete. Let's have a tour, shall we? So this is the main area with lots of furnaces over here, and in here is going to be where I move all of my storage with even more storage up top. In this other tower, we have a bed at the bottom and the enchanting table set up right at the top with max level enchantments ready to go. Now the next thing we have to do is connect the basement to the castle, so let's dig a path there and we are complete. And that is everything done. This travels straight to our iron farm from episode 1, and this thing is stuffed full of iron, which is amazing. Now all we have to do is move everything in, just like this. And now everything is inside the house, and we are complete with the castle. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the 5th episode of our Create Mod Hardcore series, and this episode is gonna be big. Last episode, we upgraded our cabin to a large, huge castle, and that's gonna help store a bunch of new materials for this episode. This episode, we are planning on beating the Ender Dragon and making a huge mob farm for mainly gunpowder and bones, so let's hop in the nether and get some blaze rods. But before we do that, I'm going to actually move the blaze spawner over from the nether to our base by picking it up. And to pick it up, we're going to be using minecarts, so let's craft a cart assembler, and the rest of the things we'll need are pretty simple items. Now that we have everything, let's travel to the nearby nether fortress that Bear found for us while exploring. We will just follow him to the fortress and get our spawner there. And now that I've made it, I can finally grab this spawner. Okay, this took a little bit to find, but now we can just take this spawner home with us. So if I just put the assembler underneath and the cart on it, then grab my lever out and flick it, it should... Yes! Nice, it stopped. Now I can just smack it and take it up with me and bring it home. I am going to move the spawner down in this little hole I dug for the time being. And if I place this cart on top, the blazes will start spawning again and I can kill them for rods. Now we'll just be farming here for a while to get all the rods we need to beat the game with. And now that I have all of them, I just need to kill some endermen for pearls, and that's it. Little did I know that it took hours upon hours to kill all of these endermen for pearls, and it was not fun. This made my armor get super damaged, and I had to use the rest of my diamonds to heal it up with the anvil. And after making the rest of the pearls, we were all set to go beat the Ender Dragon. So after making some fireworks, we headed out to the stronghold. After mining into the portal room, we were ready. And all that we needed to do was mine out and kill the dragon. And after finally beating him, it was straight to the outer end islands to find an end city to get us that sweet elytra. Whoa, holy smokes, that was close. And after pearling to the end islands, it was time to search for end cities. We are not having any luck finding an end city, and camps had to go, so it turned into a 2-man mission, and after exploring for another 30 minutes, we finally found an end city, but it didn't have a ship. So after looting it up, we went back out exploring for another 30 minutes before finding the perfect end city. This thing had tons of loot, and I had to use the ender chest there just to store all of it. This was probably the largest end city I've ever explored based on how much loot I got here. And after swimming through a close end gateway, I was back home and ready to begin this giant mob farm. But first, I had to upgrade and repair all of my diamond gear with this end game overpowered loot and all the levels I got after killing the dragon. I also applied the new trim I got with the rest of my armor pieces and made some shulker boxes to collect materials for the mob farm. Alright, we are going to be mainly using all of our excess dirt for this project, and I hope this is enough. We are also going to make some funnels for the collection system, and using our dried kelp we should be fine, and 25 is all we need for this. We are also going to need 25 chests for this as well, some slabs, and windmill sails are going to be powering this automatic farm, so we will make a lot of those. And it looks like we have just about everything, so let's head out to the ocean to build this thing. Now that I made it, I can begin on the farm. I'll start with making a little platform at the bottom, and the collection system is going to be accessible from down here. The funnels will go on top as they work better than hoppers, and I can turn these chests into item vaults when storage becomes a problem. Next, I'm going to start working on the walls of this giant fall pit and go up about 30-ish blocks high to ensure everything dies. And now that we are at the top, I've used almost all of my dirt, so we are going to go back and collect more building blocks. Thankfully, we can just turn this iron farm into a cobblestone generator and get infinite cobblestone that way, and hopefully I'll fill up a whole shulker in no time. Alright, I might have been AFK for a little bit too long, but this is way more than enough cobble to finish the mob farm. First, we are going to extend this platform out a bunch to push the mobs down the hole, and we are going to make this a giant square area for this. Next up, we are going to place signs all around the hole to prevent the water from coming through. We're going to raise it up a block and extend out a little bit more on each side so it catches every mob 100% of the time, and this is going to extend out everywhere. Now slabs on the edges so no water spills off the side, and now that that's done, we can finally fill up this area with water. Now everything is completely filled up and we are about 50% done with the farm already. Next up is the spawning platform for the mobs, so let's build up a few blocks and make a little area. Now we just gotta extend this out, and now to make a diamond shape for the mobs to spawn and get hit off of. This is the first spawning platform complete. Now to automate it. We're gonna start by digging a 1 block wide hole on this side, and a 2 block wide hole on this side for spiders and mobs to fall through. Now to automate this thing, we are going to be using windmill sails to push the mobs down these holes. Now I'll super glue this all together, and that is the first platform 100% complete. And now it's time to build a lot more to maximize these rates. This height should be pretty good. Let's get to building. Now that all of the layers are done, we just need to make a few more things, starting with a roof to make the whole farm dark so it will work at any time of day. We will use the same diamond pattern as the rest of the farm to keep it simple. Some of the edges are connected, now we just have to fill it all in. The entire farm is complete, and all we have to do now is make an AFK platform. After crafting the rest of my deep slate slabs into tiles, I built up a bit and made a little box to AFK the farm with to test to see if it works. Let's start up the farm to get it spinning, then I'll fly up to the AFK platform and AFK for 10 minutes and see what loot we get. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes, let's check the chest down at the bottom. And this is crazy, in 10 minutes I've got so much loot. Holy crap, I'll never need gunpowder again. And that's going to be the end of today's video. If y'all did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 6 of our Hardcore Create mod series. In this episode, I need to get my elytra repaired and upgrade my armor. So today, we are going to be building a villager trading hall to get all of the best enchantments. This is going to be built out of mainly spruce wood and stone bricks. So let's go grab these and find a spot to build. I think right out here next to my castle should be good, so let's start building an outline. We will start with corner pillars, and this looks like a big enough area. Now let's build up pillars in between and connect them to the top to show some more detail all across. And we've already used up most of our wood. I think it's time for an automatic tree farm, and one of the things we'll need are these deployers, which shouldn't be too hard to get, but they do have some items I haven't seen before. We are going to need brass, which is just made with a mixer by using some copper, and zinc ingots with a blaze burner. To get a blaze burner, we will need to trap a blaze in one of these empty burners, which shouldn't be too difficult thanks to us moving the blaze spawner to our base last episode. When I flick this lever, blazes will begin to spawn, and we just gotta trap one with this burner. Oh yes! Now we just right click and he is trapped inside. Now we can mix all of my zinc and copper to get all the brass we need. And after I smush it, we can make the first item for a deployer. This is the brass hand, and now we need another item, which is the electron tube made from polished rose quartz and an iron sheet. Making rose quartz is simple with just some redstone and quartz. Now all we need is some sandpaper to polish it. And now that I've got my sandpaper, I can polish the quartz. By putting the quartz in my offhand, I can polish it by sanding it down. Now I can make an electron tube and the first full deployer, and I only need a few more for this tree farm. And now that I have all of the materials, I can make the rest of the deployers I'll need for this farm. Next up, we need a few saws, a mechanical bearing, then some barrels for storage, and we should be all set. Right here should be a good spot for the build, so let's clear up this stuff and get ready. Now that I've got this water wheel all set up, we can start on automating this thing. And we can do that by making these gears spin really fast. I've spent a little bit adjusting the gears, and this should be fast enough, so now we can start to build up the farm, and we need to build up a bit for that. I can place the bearing here and start to build the harvesters. The deployers will be used to replant the trees after all the saws break them, so let's just glue all this together and start it up, and that is way too fast. Now I can place the barrels on to collect the wood, and then the saws will go on the bottom, and I can just re-glue all of this back together. Now I've went back and made the machine a lot slower, so it will actually farm the wood, so now we just need to collect some saplings, and we can have this collect a ton of wood. The saplings we will use are oak and spruce saplings to get as much wood as we can. Bear has been at the farm for a while and he seems to have everything working, so let's plant our saplings down. And as the trees get farmed, the excess saplings will be placed down and the farm is basically complete. After AFKing for a bit, I had the rest of the wood I needed and I began to work on the trading hall. Okay, next up is the roof and the second floor of the trading hall. So let's just do this, and now we've got the main outline of the area. Now we can just build it all together. Let's start by connecting the whole roof together, and now that that is done, we can start working on the inside. Let's start with the floor, and I'll make a staircase leading up there. Now I can smelt some cobble for the rest of the exterior. I'll make my stone bricks and we should be good. Now I can finish the exterior. Now we are fully finished and we can start putting villagers in for this hall. I'll put all the beds up here. And now I gotta go to the village and bring some villagers. I made it to the village, now I can get some villagers. I'll put this down and trap them in a boat and now I can just bring him home. This is gonna take a while. And that is one villager completely brought into the breeder. Now I just need one more. This is our second villager, and they will be all we need, so let's trap him in the boat, and we should be good to go. And now if I break this boat, he just runs right on in, and we can start to breed them thanks to the carrots from our automatic carrot farm. So I'll just throw down a stack, and I'll need about 10 villagers, so I'll leave them alone for a few hours and go AFK. But first, I'm going to build these little chambers, which will hold all of the librarian villagers once we get them. And to get the villagers, we will need some leather, so let's kill some cows. And we will need about 18 leather for enough bookshelves. I found an unlooted rune portal, and it could have something good inside, so let's check the chest, and ooh, nothing too crazy, but it's alright. I think I've just found the most amount of cows I've seen in one place ever. This will give me so much leather, holy crap. Now I can make these bookshelves, and turn them into lecterns for villagers to have. And now that it's been a few hours, I can start to move villagers out, and we will need a few to be Fletchers first, so we can make the bulk of our emeralds quick. So let's put these guys into boats, and we will be good. And that's one Fletcher moved in, and as I was moving in the second Fletcher, he fell through the floor and became a librarian instead, so that was a bit odd. So now I only had one librarian and one Fletcher. And after finally getting the second Fletcher in, it was time to get all of the librarians downstairs and into their places. I would trick them by having them go to sleep in their chambers and trapping them up. And soon enough, I had all the librarians in their chambers, and I just had to spend forever resetting trades to get the perfect ones. And when I did, we would lock them in and move to the next one. And soon enough, we had every villager with the perfect trades that I needed unlocked. We had got Silk Touch, Looting, Protection, Efficiency, Mending, and Unbreaking, which were perfect for my tools and armor. Thanks to the amazing tree farm, I was able to get all the wood I needed, which I could turn into sticks, and trade with the Fletchers for XP and emeralds to get these books with. And after a few hours of grinding, I had all the enchantment books I needed and had already began enchanting my armor. Then it was complete. I had the best armor and tools possible, and they all had mending and unbreaking, so they would last for a while. That's going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week. Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 7 of our Create Mod Hardcore series, and today is going to be a special Christmas episode. As you can see, we put mending on all of our gear, and now we need a way to get XP fast, so we are able to repair that armor. So today, we are going to be building a giant XP farm and disguising it as Santa's workshop for this episode. Back in episode 5, we moved a blaze spawner to our house, and today, we are going to automate it and have blazes be grouped and killed by me for XP. So let's pick this up, and now we can move it to our building area. But before we do that, we are going to collect a bunch of materials for this farm. Some deployers, conveyor belts, chests and hoppers should be most of the things we need. Right here looks like a good spot to build the farm, so let's clear up this area a bit and get to building. This should be cleared enough, now I can begin building the farm. This box looks big enough for the farm to be in. We can place the blaze spawner down and actually deactivate it with a lever, so if we just put it down and flick it, and then it'll be deactivated. Next, I'm going to work on all of the gears and automation for the farm. And now that I have the gears spinning pretty fast, I can start to work on getting the conveyor belts working. Let's start by connecting the gears to the end, and when I connect these, I can place the conveyor belts down now. I have to add a gearbox, but now I can finally add these conveyor belts in, and we are almost done with the farm now. Now that all of the conveyor belts are in, I need one more path that will lead them all to the killing chamber. I'm also going to use item vaults instead of chests to store more blaze rods. Alright, it's been a while with a ton of trial and error, but I can hook a conveyor belt right here and the farm is basically complete. Now I can stand right at the edge here and smack them as much as I need for as many blaze rods and for as many XP to heal up all my gear and tools. And if I just turn around, I can place all of the blaze rods into the chest, which will put them in the item vault too, which is just amazing. Next up is to make this look nice, so let's start working on an outline for the building. This is a good start. Now I can work on the roof. It's been about an hour of designing and I'm really liking this roof layout with all of the slabs and stairs. So let's finish the roof and work on the chimney. This is the last row of stairs and now we are fully complete. Now it's time to build the chimney. This should be enough stone and stone bricks, so let's get building. We are basically going to be making a big textured chimney shape, so let's do that. Now I need some campfires, and we can just put them at the top here. And that is the entire top of the workshop finished. Next, I need some sand for concrete and windows. 4 stacks should be enough. Next, I can turn my iron farm into a gravel farm if I just remove all of the flint, which I've already done. And the final item we need will be about 48 of these red flowers. And this is the last patch, so we are complete. Let's craft all of this red concrete powder. I can turn it into concrete by putting it in water. That is all of the concrete collected. I need to go to the mob farm to get some white dye for the windows. And now that I'm here, I can get some bones for the white dye. Let's make some white panes and we are good. Now we can begin filling in all of these walls. Now I can add in all of the windows. That is the entire workshop complete, and I really like how it turned out. We have this entire inside fully complete, and it is a really effective XP grinder, which I will be using for a very long time. Short video this week, guys, but if you did enjoy, go check out the rest of the videos in the series, and have an amazing Christmas. Gold is an extremely important and valuable resource in the Create mod, and we don't have that much of it. And in this episode, we are going to fix that by building an insane gold farm that will produce me tons of gold for any sort of situation. To get this gold, we're going to be making a red sand farm and bulk washing area. Let's collect what we got right now and put it in this shulker box, and let's craft some other basic stuff. Now, one of the harder things to get will be these crushing wheels, which can't be made with a normal crafting table as they are too big. So we will have to make these mechanical crafters and learn to automate one of these to make our crushing wheels. I've spent a little bit hooking this up to my basement of contraptions, and now I have to rotate these pathways to craft the correct items on this depot. Alright, I believe I have this all in order, and all I have to do is place all of the andesite alloy, wood, and diorite in the correct spots, and it will craft it perfectly for me. These are the final pieces, and there goes all of them moving into the correct spots and crafted perfectly together to make our first 2 crushing wheels, and we just need 2 more. And here we go with the second pair of crushing wheels crafted perfectly for me. Now this should be about everything we need, so let's head out and find a spot to build this. This spot behind my castle looks very nice, so let's start by getting the water wheels placed in. This will be the power source for the whole farm, so now what we need to do is speed up our cogs and make a cobblestone generator. And if you're confused on how cobble will turn into gold, we will get there eventually, you just gotta trust the process. Now that we've built up here, I can start making the cobblestone generator. Let's place all these drills down and hook them up with cogs behind them. I'll place the water down in this box I made, then I'll put the lava on top, and we are done with the generator, and this will all turn into gold eventually. Next up is the collection system, where the cobblestone will flow down this chute and into some crushing wheels for the next step. And that part is fully complete, now onto the crushing wheels. I'm gonna build this giant wall here, then I can put the crushing wheels onto here, so the items will drop into the wheels. I'll hook this up before I forget to. Alright, now that this is fully hooked up, we are way overstressed, and we need some more water wheels. So, bam! This should be way more than enough to power the whole farm. Now we got every part of the farm working so far. As you can see, the cobblestone is getting shooted down into the crushing wheels, and the wheels are turning the cobble to gravel, then to sand, and we are going to turn that sand into red sand for gold. So the first thing we are going to do is grab the rest of my materials, then we are going to make this whole conveyor belt system with everything we need to get the normal sand to turn into red sand on top of it. Let's make the conveyor belt everything will travel on. This looks about big enough, so let's hook this up, and now let's make the storage area. I will be using a bunch of these item vaults so we never have a problem with storage. And this is as big as I'll make the storage area. Then I'll place a brass funnel and a depot here to collect the gold easily. Now, to make the red sand, I will place a millstone and a mechanical press here on the conveyor belt with funnels going into them. And I just realized I made this belt way too small, and now the brass funnels won't go into it. So let's just do some magical editing, and bam! Now I have the entire conveyor belt system fixed, and it looks a lot nicer too. The next thing we need to do is make little holes that have fans inside to wash and bake the materials before they go into each of the mechanical items. This one will be water, then lava on this one, and water again on this final one. And now the entire farm is complete. Next, I want to make this farm have a nice exterior, so let's grab some materials, and this should be a good amount of stone and wood, so now we can go start the build. So I've made a large arch, and the whole farm will be inside of this giant barn-like building. And that is the entire wood outline done, and our building is ready for some texturing. We will just use a randomness pattern of stone and stone bricks all around the entire building, and it's been a few hours, but we are finally complete. This took so long. Now I'm going to replace the flooring with stone bricks, so it's not just grass everywhere. But first, let's light this area up. Now the flooring just like this, and we are fully done with the interior and exterior of the farm and building. Now I want to build a giant gold nugget to show it's a gold farm, and we will use real gold blocks to make this. And the rest of it will be made from normal and colored wool. Yellow, orange, and finally some gray, which I will need a little bit more of. Alright, I have got everything, now it's time to build this giant gold nugget. This won't take too long, so let's do the final jump cut of this video, and bang! We are completely done with the entire farm, and this thing looks amazing. Alright, I actually forgot to explain the farm and how it works, so we have our cobblestone generator up here, which the blocks get shooted down into the wheels, which get crushed again and again to turn into sand and clay. This sand gets washed into the fan and pressed into clay box by the mechanical press. These are then baked by the lava fan and turned into terracotta, which gets put in the millstone and milled into red sand, which is finally washed again into gold nuggets and dead bushes, all stored in the item vaults for some safekeeping. And that's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to have a happy new year and subscribe because we got some crazy videos on the way. And I'll see y'all next week. We are over 600 days into my modded hardcore world, and we still don't even have any way of saving us from death. So in this episode, we are going to be making a raid farm to get all the totems and emeralds we will ever need. I'll start off by crafting and collecting every single material I will need for this farm. And the next thing I will need is sweeping edge on my diamond sword. And we finally got it in the enchanting table. Thankfully, we can use our Blaze XP farm to get up to level 30 in no time. And we are already at level 30, so now we can head back and enchant this diamond sword and combine it with my old one in the anvil, now we have the perfect sword for this job. I've collected the rest of the basic materials, and we have about everything we need for the farm. I put this villager into this boat, and now I gotta take it to our spot where we're actually gonna build this raid farm at. And right over here seems like a big enough spot to build the farm. The first thing I would like to do is flatten out this area a little bit more to help with spawn rates. So we're just gonna do some digging and flattening all around this area. And this big flat area should be good enough for now. Now it's time to start actually building this farm. So let's start by putting some fence gates all around this middle block and digging out the bottom and putting another fence gate inside, and then we're gonna open all of these up. Next, I'm gonna go out a few blocks and make a giant square which will entrap all the mobs that come through it. And now that that is done, I'll have to dig a block downwards so no mobs will be able to escape by jumping out. Next, I'll have to dig out a diamond shape and dig it down and make another box for mobs to flow down into. Since the mobs will be falling, I will dig 20 blocks downwards into a hole which will make all the mobs one hit for me to kill. Now that I'm down here, I can make this killing chamber and loot room to collect everything from the farm. I've spent a bit making the item vaults to hold all of the loot. Now it's time to dig a staircase out of here. And we finally made it back to the surface. This humongous item vault here will sort all of the loot I collect and will dispense it out accordingly to what I want. I'll place the bed, composter, and bell down here for the villager to stay safe in this little safe house. Next up is to place water in all corners of this box. And that is all the water down and ready. Now I'll place trapdoors all around the farm so mobs will walk into the middle easier and not get stuck at the edge of the block. I should probably put in the villager now before I forget, so I'll just lure him inside and send him down. Then I'll just put him into his little villager safe house. Now I'll place lava up here in this gated area that I was talking about before. Now it's time to get Bad Omen and test this farm out. Okay, I finally found some pillagers, now I can get Bad Omen. Now let's head back to the farm. Oh crap, I just realized I used normal wood gates instead of fireproof ones, so now the lava just spread everywhere. The raiders seem to be dying to the lava, which is good, but I'll have to wait this one out before I can get any loot. Well, I didn't get any achievements, but I did get a victory, so I'll have to try this again. The first thing we are going to do is get fireproof fence gates, so let's head to the Crimson Forest. And I don't need much wood here, so I'll get about a stack of logs. Alright, this is enough, now let's head back. Then let's make our gates. Now let's fix this up and get it back to working as I intended it. Now let's put the lava back in and we are complete! I'll put the water back down and the farm is ready for more testing. I'm gonna fly this way until I find an outpost because waiting for those natural ones takes way too long. Nice, we finally found an outpost. Now we just gotta get Bad Omen. Oh my gosh, it took so long, but now we finally got our raid captain and I can head back to the raid farm. Now let's start this up and rush to the basement. Go, 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 go. And the farm is working really nice. Let's go. Oh, and our first evoker. Nice. Now we got totems. Let's go, baby. This farm is working really nicely, so I'll just skip to the end and we will check out all of this amazing loot. This should be the last one, and yes, let's go. We got Hero of the Village. Look at all that loot we got too. We finally got some totems in this world so I can stop myself from dying. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. I know most of y'all don't really care, but if you have ever been wondering what Bear has been up to this whole time, this guy's actually insane. He's been cranking out this non-stop. He has this huge factory with all of these automatic farms and this elevator, which I have no idea how to use. But I'll get there. I'll get there sometime. This guy is just super fast-paced, and it's really insane what he does. This is crazy. He is crazy at this sort of stuff, and it is really, really cool. What if there was a cooler and faster way to use rails? Because minecarts are just way too boring and slow for me. So in this episode of Create Mod Hardcore, we're going to be making an insane train station which will house the fastest trains in this world. First, we need to find a spot to build this train station, and right here in this big open field should work out just nicely. So now I want to clear out a huge flat area for this to be built on. And now I've got this whole flat area which should hopefully be big enough for the schematic to be built. And yes, we are going to be using our schematic cannon to build this automatically for us. Now, if we place down the table and put our empty schematic inside, we can select the train station option and print it out into a usable schematic for us to follow. And as you can see from this outline, this thing is humongous, and it took me a couple hours to build this thing in a creative world. Okay, I did some more clearing up, and now everything is set to build this train station. So now we can place our schematic cannon down, and if we go and put a book inside the cannon, it will make a checklist of items that I will need, which will mostly require stone brick and spruce materials with a bunch of other random stuff sprinkled in as well. All of the wood materials will be super easy thanks to our automatic tree farm, which gets me so much wood, it's insane. The item I will need the most is stripped spruce logs with over 400. Just look at how much is in this tower, dude. First, we strip all of the logs. Then we chop them all down layer by layer until we hit the bottom. And finally, we have all 400 stripped spruce logs all gotten and collected up. And every time we fully collect a material, the checklist will mark it as done for me, which is really nice, but now it's time to get all of the other spruce materials, which won't be difficult at all. Alright, it's been a bit of collecting and crafting, but now we have every single spruce related material, which is great. As you can see, we have every single spruce material checked off on our checklist, and now the next thing I want to collect is every single stone brick related item on the list. Thankfully, we have a ton of leftover stone in our storage right here, and we can use this to craft our stone bricks. And that is all of the stone brick materials fully made and stored up. The final things we need will be little random stuff that are sprinkled around, which should be pretty easy to collect. 2 cogs, a clockwork bearing, windmill sails, and a bit of white concrete. That is almost everything completed on the list, and the final thing we need is some train tracks for the trains, which have a little weird but pretty simple crafting recipe. And since my friend has been on the grind with me, he made tons of these train tracks, and he's going to connect them to our train station, so we are basically set on everything. As you can see, these tracks span for miles, stretching all the way from his base to mine, and he lives super far away, so this is such a nice help from him. And now we have everything fully ready to start the build. This thing took me so long to make in a creative world, and to have it be built here with a schematic is super convenient and nice. All we have to do now is put in some gunpowder, and this thing is ready to build. And let's get this started. Look how fast it's placing everything, bro. Holy smokes. That is our entire train station fully finished, and look at this beauty. Oh my goodness, it turned out so well. This is awesome. Just look at the inside. It has these 2 entrances to get on the train, and this is only part 1, because next week we'll be making super cool trains and making them automatically deliver stuff to and from my base, making getting materials for projects so much easier. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all then! Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 11 of my modded hardcore series. And as you can see, last episode we built this giant train station, and today we are going to be making a real working train that will help me travel all over this world anytime I want. The first thing I need to do is move our horse stable out of the way just like this, and now we can actually start working on the trains. So the first thing we are going to do is make some more train tracks, and they're pretty easy to make using just iron nuggets and slabs. And that is every single track I should need. Now we can get to building. Now since we have all of the other tracks connected, I just need to connect these 2 tracks together to complete the loop. And to do this, we have to make a giant circle to ensure the turns aren't too sharp. Alright, it's been a little bit, but we finally have the entire loop connected in this train system, spanning over 1,000 blocks across my world, and now it's time to start building the train. The most important thing I need will be these train casings, which will get me everything I need to craft and build these trains, but they are a long process, so let's just get started. First, let's craft a spout for the lava, get some lava from the nether, turn some of it into obsidian, and now we take that obsidian and crush it in our crushing wheel, and that will give us our obsidian powder. Next, we need to craft some copper pipes, and then we need a copper fluid pump as well. So now I have everything set up with the pump pushing lava through the pipes into the spout to spray on the powder. So let's hook up these gears and get this up and working. Now the spout is full of lava, which is great, so let's grab our powder and have it sprayed by the lava. And now I have to replace my spout with the mechanical press, and it will make our sturdy plates. That is all of our sturdy plates, and now I can almost craft all of the train casings that we need. If we put some brass casings into the deployer and our sturdy sheets into the top, it will make us our train casings, so now we can finally start working on these things. First, we need a train casing to make the train station, and next we need some train controls which require this precision mechanism, which isn't too hard to make. And these are the last items to put in the deployer, and now we have our precision mechanism, which is great. And now that is our train controls fully complete. Now if I put this station down, I can begin to actually start building these trains. We do that by placing our train casings on the tracks, and then they turn into wheels for the train. And now we can start to build on these wheels. Of course, we are going to be mainly using wood for this train to really match our train station aesthetic that we already have down. First, let's start by connecting these wheels together and making a big pathway to walk along. I want to make this look like a real wooden train car, so I'll do an outline on the outside all over. Of course, we have to connect the edges up, build an entrance on each side, place windows all over the train. Since this is the entrance, the controls and seat will go here as well. Then I'll build the roof in and super glue the whole thing together, and our train is complete, and now we can drive it. First, let's assemble the train at the train station and we are ready to go. So if I sit down here, I can start to control the train and we are off. Whoa, this is so cool. And I control the speed and everything. Well, if you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. This is my castle. It is very neat and very nice looking from above, because the basement in my base has been looking disgusting ever since I made this area back in episode 1. That's why in this episode, we are going to be building a giant workshop to house all of these little farms and stations I have down here, and we will also be making an insane power generator to power everything at once. So I want to take everything that's in my basement and move it to a giant workshop that I will build right here. So let's get started. I will use pretty basic materials, so let's start building. Okay, I've built this huge outline, and what I want to do is fill in the walls next with a stone and stone brick texture. And now that that is complete, all that is left is the roof. So let's do a big cut, and now the whole roof is complete, and I think it looks really nice. Down here will be where all of our small farms and stations will be, and upstairs is where storage and fuel will be at. So let's do the floor really quick, and then we can get to making a steam engine. To power our steam engine, we are going to be using blaze burners and water. Thankfully, my XP farm spawns blazes, so I don't have to go into the nether to trap them in burners, so let's just mine through this wall and wait for them to spawn. Here is our first blaze trapped up, and the second, third, and fourth all shortly after. Now I'm going to be building this steam engine in the corner of our workshop, so let's just place these here for now. Next, we are going to need some fluid pipes for the water, and also 2 pumps for it as well. To hold the water and heat it up, these will be fluid tanks. So let's place these fluid tanks down, and now I'll make a fluid pump with pipes going into the tank. And now that I've got these, I just need to start the pumps up with some cogs. Okay, I had to go through a bit of water wheel setup, but now the pumps are up and running, so now it's time to start automatically fueling the blaze burners. For our fuel for now, I will be using oak logs stored in vaults. I will set up this item vault in the corner up here so I can shoot it down later. And we can just shoot in our oak logs here, which we get from our tree farm, which will need to be upgraded to fuel this farm, but it works for now. All we have right now is our fluid tank and our fuel, but now we need our steam engine where everything in the basement right now will connect to. So let's place these on our tank. So I'll just pop these in here and we are almost ready to go. As you can see, I put shafts on the engines and now we are up and running. Now to automate putting the fuel into the blaze burners, we are going to be needing a mechanical arm, which isn't too difficult to make. The hardest thing to make would be the precision mechanism, which isn't even that difficult. And now we have everything for our mechanical arm, so let's craft this thing and be on our way to finishing this whole workshop. Okay, it took me a while, but I finally have this whole setup done. So the wood will drop down from the top and land on the depot. This will then be picked up by the mechanical arm and fueled into the blaze burners automatically. And now our engines are traveling pretty fast, and we only need one for now, so this will be zooming. Now it's time to move everything that's in the basement up into the workshop, starting with the iron farm. And bang! We have all of the stuff from here, and now it looks a lot more empty. So let's just remove everything else, and we will be on our way. The rest of the items won't take too long at all, so let's just zoom through this. And since this is probably going to take a few hours to set up, I'll just go and look at this torch for a few seconds, and done. I spent so long building this farm again, but it is so worth it. It is so much more accessible, and all packed against this wall to save space, thanks to the huge engine which powers everything really well. And I have this huge other area to build extra machines when I need them. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week. Hello everybody and welcome back to Modded Hardcore. Last episode I built this giant workshop which is going to hold lots of mini farms, but to power this we are using blaze burners which require fuel. So in this episode we're going to make a giant tree farm that will automatically fuel this workshop and get me infinite wood. First we're going to get rid of my old OG tree farm. And now that that is done with, I can start to work on the big farm. And we are going to be building this right next to our workshop. Okay, I've spent a bit of time clearing out an area, and now it's time to start building this thing. I want to build a 2-story tree farm that will fuel the blaze burners automatically. First, we need to get some dirt, and I know just the plug. And now that we've got our plug dirt, I can build these tree platforms. All the dirt is in place, and now it's time for the hard part of building these machines. But first, let's plant these saplings with oak on the bottom layer and spruce on the top layer. That's all of the saplings that I have down. Now let's build the collection system. We obviously need our vaults down, and now we will filter out to only the wood that we need, and everything else will fall into the lava. Now I need to connect a conveyor belt to the vault inside the workshop from the outer ones, which will fuel the burners. Now that I have that done, I can start to hook it up and make it move fast. We will power this using a tiny water wheel, and we are going to be using a rotation speed controller to make the conveyor belts move really fast. Okay, it's been a bit of trial and error, but now we have our main conveyor going at super speeds, and now it's time to hook up the bottom vault to this conveyor belt as well. We are going to need a silk touch book for this, so let's buy one here. And I'll just put it on this shovel. Now to get the items from the bottom vault to the conveyor belt, we are going to be using an ice highway and soul sand bubble elevators to carry the items onto the belt. I'll put some ice on the floor here, and this will be where the soul sand elevator will be. So let's put a sign down, and now everything up here is all finished. Let's place in the soul sand, and we are almost finished with the collection system, and I just have to replace all of these with water source blocks. Now that the whole collection system is done, I just need to build the tree cutting machines. And this machine will be on a moving minecart, so we need some rails. We also need these special rails to turn the minecarts around super fast. Now let's place all of these rails in before I build the machines, and that is all of the rails done on both layers. Next is to get the materials for the harvesters, starting with all 56 of these saws. Now to build on these minecarts, we need some cart assemblers, then we are all set. First, I'll place the cart assembler and the minecart down, and now I can build the tree harvesters. We need barrels, then our saws, which will go on both sides, then the deployers on top facing downwards last. And now I'm missing one last piece. I will need some of these portable storage interfaces to get the loot from the saws to the vaults for transport. So I'll just put one on, and then I'll put another on the vault, and we should be fully done with one of the machines, and I just need to repeat this process on the top layer. That is the second machine fully done, and now the farm is almost complete. I just need to start up the machines now. First, I need to change the cart mode to lock rotation, then I flick this lever to activate it, break this assembler, then I just push it, and we are done. This thing will get me so much wood, and it will for sure be so much more than enough that I'll need for the rest of this world. That's both machines fully complete, and that is going to be at the end of this episode, guys. Next week and the week after, I got some crazy stuff planning up, and the episodes are only going to get better and better from now on. So I'll see y'all next week. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode, and today this is going to be a 2-part video just like the trains, but we are going to be flying to the moon and going into space. So let's head over to a nearby mushroom island I found and build this thing. I had to fly so far, but I finally found the mushroom island. I spent hours collecting all of the limestone and viridium for this, and I probably got way too much for what I'm planning, but let's start building. Now that is the entire rocket launch pad done, and now building the rocket isn't going to be the hard part, it's going to be collecting everything I need for it, fueling it up, and getting a spacesuit for the moon. So let's just get this rocket out of the way just like this, and now our entire rocket is built and we can start to work on things I need to get this thing working. The first thing I'm going to make is some jet engines, and these will act as thrusters and carry us to the moon, and 17 should be enough. The next thing up that I need is going to be rocket controls. These are going to be kind of difficult and long to make, but first we need to make a circuit engraver to make circuits, so let's get straight into that. Let's polish some amethyst pieces with sandpaper. Then we can do this recipe to make an amethyst crystal for the engraver. Now to craft the engraver, we need to set up our mechanical crafters. Now that all of these are set up, I can begin to craft the engraver. The recipe is only 10 items, so it's set up a bit differently, but let's place everything in and get this rolling. This is the final shaft, and let's go! Now we have our engraver to make circuits with. Now circuits are a long process requiring 5 of amethyst, copper, and gold to make one, so let's get making some. That is our first one. We need to make about 3 for now, so let's do that. And that is the second one completed up, and the final one is done. This process takes so long to do, oh my goodness. Now that we have 3 circuits, I can craft our rocket controls, and the next item I will need will be way harder to make. That item is the rocket station, which has this huge recipe requiring a few more circuits to make and a computer as one of the parts, and this thing is crazy. Okay, I've spent a bit of time collecting most of the materials to make the computer, and I think I have everything, so let's go make a few more circuits and we will be ready. We need 2 more circuits, and that's the first, and that's the second circuit done, so now we can make this targeting computer. This crafting recipe is so annoyingly long, but at least we have everything for it now. And I finally have our targeting computer, so now we can craft the rocket station. Alright, everything is set up, so let's power this crafter and make our rocket station. I like how satisfying the crafter is, it's really nice, and there we go, we are almost done with our rocket. Now getting to space without a suit would be terrible, so let's make an oxygen tank and craft our spacesuit. It's pretty easy to make with just wool and iron plates, and that is the entire spacesuit complete. Nice! The next and final thing for part 1 is going to be making and fueling the ship for the journey. As you can see, we have all of these materials, and we are going to be making a hydrocarbon creator to fuel the ship up. Okay, I've set up the basic premise, and we just need to put coal into these basins and have them get pressed by the pressers while the blaze burners are on. So let's hook this all up to some water wheels and make our pipes. Our fuel tanks will be at the bottom here. I've spent some time hooking up water wheels for power and pipes that will automatically fuel the ship for takeoff. And if we just put some coal into here and fuel the blaze burners, the pressers start to make the fuel perfectly. So let's see how much 3 stacks of coal will make. As you can see, the fluid tanks are getting filled up with hydrocarbons, and we need about 40,000 to make it to the moon and back. So we will probably have enough with our 3 stacks of coal. That is all of our coal gone, and we have 65,000 fuel, which is amazing. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Tune in next week where we actually launch to space and get to the moon. See you then! Hello everyone and welcome back to Modded Hardcore. Last episode, we made a giant rocket, and now we are going to be actually heading to the moon with it today. But first, we have to do some things. To get to the moon, we need a star map. So let's make a stand-up telescope just like this. And we also need this astronomy table, which had a really simple crafting recipe. Now, to get a star map, you need to record positions of the moon during different times at night by using the telescope. And we need 3 separate readings to make our map. If the points are too close together, they won't make the map on the astronomy table, so this will probably take multiple nights to make. And now it's been a few nights, and I believe all of these points are far enough away so we can make our star map. By combining these in the astronomy table, then we can use this book to go to the moon. Now there's a few last minute add-ons I need to add, starting with these iron doors that slide, and some scaffolding to reach the top of the rocket. If we look at the rocket station, I can put in the star map and it'll tell me how much fuel I'll need, and thankfully, we have a lot more than enough thanks to last episode. Now to get to the moon, we need oxygen in our spacesuit so we can breathe, and thankfully my friend Bear made this simple oxygen collector that we can use to fill our spacesuit. To fill it up, we just put our chest plate into this oxygen filler and let it do all the work. Alright, it should be done now, and we should have about 30 minutes of oxygen to use on the moon. Now to get up into space without our rocket burning, we need to put iron plating on our rockets outside and inside, and the recipe was very simple to make these, so let's just place these in our empty space and we should be ready to go. Now that everything is glued in, we are ready to assemble the rocket, and we have met all the requirements, so let's get this thing going. Right click our rocket controls and we are ready for liftoff. Yes, it's working so nice. We are heading right up to the moon. Let's go. Alright, we just passed Earth's orbit, so let's keep it pushing to the moon. Okay, so it just transported me, and now we are above the moon, falling down rapidly. Now I gotta make sure to hit the spacebar at the right time to have a safe landing, otherwise we are gonna crash and make a huge crater, and probably pop a totem. Oh, land, let's go! And we have safely landed, let's go explore this thing. And we finally made it on the moon, so let's meet up with everybody else, and they say they found a structure on here already. They are a few thousand blocks away, so let's get traveling. Oh my gosh, it's been about 10 minutes of traveling, but I finally made it. The building was basically fully looted by them, and it had some pretty dangerous mobs in there anyway, so I'm glad that nobody died. Geez, that building was super dark and the loot was pretty trash, but I've come up to the moon for one specific thing, and that is some lunar sapphire. So we will need to find a geode underground, but I will take some of this iron plating on the top though. Alright, this ravine looks like a good start, so let's just follow it down and find a geode before it's too late on my oxygen timer. There's actually no harmful mobs on here except these guys, which are kinda like llamas, where they just spit at you, and of course the dangerous mobs in the structures are dangerous too. Diamonds, let's go! It's not what I'm looking for, but I'll take it. Wait, I finally found a geode, let's go! And we are gonna need this lunar sapphire and these crystals to go to other planets in the future. I bet 2 stacks of the blocks should be enough, so let's head back because I only have 10 more minutes on this moon before I start to die. With 5 minutes to spare, I finally made it back to my rocket, so let's get out of here. So when I landed on here, I got an Earth ticket, so let's put this in the rocket station and get off this planet. I have some big plans now that interplanetary travel is now possible in this world, so stay tuned. And that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on. Oh my gosh, holy crap! Oh no, this is gonna be a huge mess to clean up, bro. This is gonna take some time. Jeez, look at the crater, man. Oh no. Hello everybody and welcome back to Hardcore Minecraft, and today we are going to be building a base on the moon. Last episode we were able to fly all the way there, and now we need a base. So we're going to make a giant dome, and let's get some glass to start off. Thankfully our gold farm generates tons of sand, so we can just use that. Now that I've filled up this shulker, I just need to smelt it. And we can use our automatic smelter to turn the sand into glass very quickly. And it's already done. This is going to be fast. So let's just get this whole shulker smelted and then we will move on. And that is the very last stack of glass smelted up. Now I need some dirt for the dome as well. This hill looks like a good spot to get all the dirt, so let's start here and get some. Alright, it's been a while, but I probably have way more than enough dirt for the dome. Now we need to start working on the harder materials for this project. The first thing we need is an interplanetary navigator to reach Mars, which uses circuits and the new lunar sapphires from the moon that we collected last episode. You might be wondering why I need to go to Mars, and that's because I need to get Martian steel to make a special device that will help out with the moon base. Next up, we need to make some circuits, which are pretty easy but take a while, so let's get those done. I went to Bear's base since he has the amethyst needed for the circuits, and I made them at his crafter, so now we have everything for the navigator. Of course, we'll have to use our automatic crafter to make the navigator, so let's place all these in and let it build. And now that we have the navigator, we can head to Mars for that Martian steel. To make our moon base not freeze us, I need to make a temperature regulator, which allows my base to be warm all on the cold planet, but we need some Martian steel to make the advanced green circuits. Before we can even go to Mars, we need to make a few recordings and a star map of the planet for our rocket to work. And this should be the last recording, and now we can make our star map on the astronomy table. Now before we head to Mars, we need to fill up our rocket with some fuel to make it there and back. So let's fill our blaze burners with wood and put coal into the vault for it to fuel. Alright, we just have a tiny bit of coal left and we have 100,000 fuel, which should be more than enough to get to Mars and back, so let's go. First, we need to fill up our oxygen tank on my spacesuit and then we are ready. Let's grab our star map of Mars, an interplanetary navigator, and get going just to get that steel and get out of there. We are lifting off and heading for Mars. Alright, we hit Mars, now it's time to land and find that steel. This place is a lot more dangerous than the moon, specifically in the caves, so let's be careful when looking for iron and ash. Yes, I finally found some iron, and all that is left is ash, which is found in the deeper parts of caves, so we have to be quiet and careful when looking for the ash. The ash is needed to make the steel, so let's get like a stack of it. This cave looks really promising, so let's traverse it quietly to avoid detection from the mobs and find that ash. Okay, I had to pass some mobs that detect sound, but we finally found some ash, so let's get this up and get out of here. Finally found an exit to the cave, so let's get out of here and leave this planet for good. Okay, we made it back to the rocket, so let's get in and head out since it's so dark out here. Okay, we made it back to Earth, so let's land safely and get the temperature regulator for our moon base. Let's start with making our Martian steel with our iron and ash, and we need to make these circuits, so let's get crafting. Alright, that should be the first advanced circuit complete, and now I just need to repeat that process 2 more times, and it's been about 10 minutes, but I finally have the other 2 circuits complete, and we can finally make this temperature regulator. All of the materials were easy to collect besides the circuits, so we are ready to make this and go to the moon and start construction for the base. Let's head up to the moon and get started on this. I think I'll build it on this hill since it's close to my rocket and on flat ground. Let's grab out our glass and build this dome, and I'll use this crater here as a layout. Okay, I've made this circle, so let's build this dome up pretty high. I've spent about 15 minutes working on this dome, and the outside is now fully complete. Now it's time to start to decorate the inside and make it a livable space so you never need to leave the moon again. I'm gonna start with dirt and grass so we can plant trees later on for oxygen and to make it more lively. Next up, we can make an infinite water source right here, and I need to set up the temperature regulator to stop the cold from freezing us, so let's place it in the middle. And we will power everything in here with a lot of water wheels, and now our temperature regulator is on, and next up is to set the oxygen collectors and generators. So let's head back down to Earth and start to make these things. These oxygen concentrators are pretty easy to make, so let's craft a few of them real quick. I went back to Bear's base to make some more circuits, and then we were ready. So I crafted them in the automatic crafter, and the rest of the materials were super easy to make, so I headed back to the moon. Let's set up these concentrators, and I just have to hook them up to a fluid tank. Now I just need to hook this all up to some more water wheels. And 6 more does not seem to be enough. I sent out Bear to go fetch some more from his rocket, and we should be good. Okay, he finally came back, and thankfully he has water wheels, so let's hook this up and get this oxygen running. Alright, now we have enough, and the farm and everything inside is working perfectly. I planted some trees and placed some chests for storage, but now we have everything possible for a livable base here on the moon, and that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.